Greetings and salutations. So, in a lot of things I talked about so far, I've been kind of vulnerable in it, but I realize that's actually not something people normally do, like true vulnerability. And it's not something someone should do with everyone necessarily. Can, great, cool, be vulnerable with everybody and be awesome, but if you aren't vulnerable with somebody, you're ultimately vulnerable to everybody. And I'm not saying go and lay before a wolf and let them rip your throat out. What I'm talking about is you got to be able to express yourself in the totality of who you are to someone. It might be people of the same gender, might be people of different genders, might be people from different cultures, might be people of the same culture, but sometimes it's harder to be vulnerable with those people than a complete stranger. But being truly vulnerable, open, and exposed to someone does so much. At least for me, it does a lot, because when I express myself and who I am and what it is that makes me me, and when I put what I value as precious out before someone, what they do with it, usually most people will oblige you appropriately and it feels great, but then there's people that will actually attack it. But what that does is it shows you where the weak points of your vulnerability is. It shows you where you can improve yourself, in the sense of, I mean, not changing who you are, but like, you never know what hurts the most until it's actually hurting. So if your ideals, if your beliefs or nothing never receives any kind of resistance to stand against it, then it never really has to stand. Whereas when you give it an opposition and you make yourself vulnerable to the opposition, then you get to a point where your ideal becomes solidified. One, you see where you were wrong, but two, you get to see, okay, but look, I am right. Look at how this applies, and you get to move it forward. But if you're never vulnerable, if you're never open, if you never expose yourself in that way, then you never have growth. Anyways, vulnerability. Ciao.